Hello, children. I'm sure you're worried for your upcoming exams. So, we have got a worksheet that we will solve together. And the chapter that I'm covering today is What If It Finishes? It is also known as coal and petroleum in many schools, according to the book that you follow. But if you have a chapter that deals with fossil fuel, or exhaustible fuels, coal and petroleum, or the NCERT topic, what if it finishes, then this revision worksheet is for you. Okay, so let's do the worksheet together, and I'm sure it'll help you in the exams. The first question is, what are fossil fuels? Right? What are fossil fuels? We must have heard about it in the class, but what are fossil fuel? Let's define it. The natural fuel formed from the remains of living organisms, animals, plants, right? Living organisms buried under the earth. Long, long ago are called fossil fuel. So, when living organisms like plants and animals die and they get buried under the earth for millions of years, okay, long, long ago, millions of years are called, then they get converted into fossil fuel. Okay, example coal, petroleum, and natural gas. And natural gas are fossil fuels. Right. This you must be seeing that various people use it in their daily life. They are all fossil fuel. You can also write fossil fuels, fossil fuels were formed from the dead remains of living organisms. Buried under the earth, buried under the earth millions of years ago. Right? Now, coming to the second question, what are inexhaustible and exhaustible natural resource? See, in English, we use the words, oh, I'm exhausted, right? That means that there is no energy within us and, it's kind of finished. So that's a literal translation I would like to do. But then let's see how to define it for science. इनएग्जॉस्टिबल का मतलब होता है ये खत्म नहीं होंगे और एग्जॉस्टिबल का मतलब होता है ये खत्म हो जाएंगे. Right? So let's define it. All natural resource, all natural resources can be classified into two main groups. One, inexhaustible natural resources, and secondly, exhaustible natural resources. एक ऐसे जो कभी खत्म नहीं होंगे और एक ऐसा जो खत्म हो सकता है. Right? So what does they mean? We'll have to describe that too. Those natural resources, those natural resources which are present in unlimited quantity in nature and are not likely to be exhausted by human activities are called inexhaustible natural resources. Right? So ऐसे रिसोर्स जो नेचर के पास प्लेंटी अमाउंट में है और अगर आप यूज करेंगे तो वो खत्म नहीं होंगे. राइट? एग्जाम्पल, सनलाइट. आप आज यूज करेंगे सनलाइट, सनलाइट कल भी आएगी जब तक सन की अवेलेबिलिटी है. एयर एंड वाटर, ये बात अलग है कि that we have now brought water into an endangered level. That is because of human activity, but that nature has provided it in ample amount. Now let's see what is exhaustible resources. Those resources which are present in a limited quantity in nature and can be exhausted by human activities are called exhaustible natural resource. That means these are also available in good quantity, right? But we are overusing them and we are actually wasting it as well. So that makes them exhaustible. It takes millions of years for these to get prepared by nature. For example, coal and petroleum. Coal, petroleum, they are exhaustible fuels and we have to be very careful while using it. There are more examples like forest, wildlife. So we are supposed to maintain balance in nature and ensure that the exhaustible natural resources are intact. Now, the next question, name a solid, liquid, and gaseous fuel. So, the fuels can be categorized into three categories, solid, liquid, and gaseous fuel. So, we can give example, and here only one example has been asked. I'll give you a little more than one so that according to your question in exam, if they're asking two examples or three, you can be able to give the examples. Some examples of solid fuels are wood, charcoal, coal, कोक. ये आपका कोका कोला ड्रिंक नहीं है, कोक एक सॉलिड फ्यूल है. ओके, एक्सेट्रा. Some examples of liquid fuel are kerosene, petrol, diesel, etc. So these are the liquid fuels that we commonly use. Some examples of gaseous fuel are natural gas, petroleum, biogas, coal gas, etc. Okay. Now, the fourth question. What are the advantages of CNG? Okay, compressed natural gas. So they are asking you the advantages of using natural gas. So let's write it. Advantages of using natural gas or compressed natural gas CNG are number one, it burns easily. Now, what do you mean it is burning easily? It burns easily with a smokeless flame and causes no air pollution. So, this is a big use of natural gas. Okay. So, natural gas CNG burns easily and produces a lot of heat. If the term calorific value has been introduced in your schools, you can also write has high calorific value. Okay. CNG burns with a smokeless flame. With a smokeless flame and causes no air pollution. This is the biggest advantage, and that is why most of the government vehicles and the public transport run on CNG. Okay. Now, it does not leave behind any solid residue. Okay. So let's write that. CNG does not produce any solid residue on burning. Right. There are many advantages that you can keep adding, right? But we are mentioning the three most important advantages. You can add on advantages like it is easy to transport CNG, right? And it is obviously the cleanest fuel. Using it in industries will help us reduce pollution. So all these can be written or added according to the number of marks the question is for. The next question is how to save petrol and diesel. Hannah, you want to, you always ask your parents to take you out and, you want to drive to your favorite place, have lunch or dinner maybe. But then how can we save petrol and diesel? So let's write the methods or simple methods that we can follow. We can save petrol and diesel by first driving the vehicle at a constant and moderate speed. It is difficult when there is huge traffic for the driver to do that, but then they should try to drive the vehicle at a constant and moderate speed. Second, switch off the vehicle's engine at traffic lights. Now, for example, if the traffic light is showing you a timer of 2 minutes, you can always ask your parents to switch off the engine till it is around 30 to 40 seconds remaining, right? Ensuring correct air pressure. Correct air pressure in the tires. Now you must be wondering how this would help. So, dear children, low tire pressure consumes more fuel. Okay. And low tire pressure consumes more fuel. Now, ensure regular maintenance of vehicle. So, you remember the pollution OK certificate that is required on the vehicles. So, you can ensure regular maintenance of the vehicle. Ensuring regular maintenance of the vehicle. Now, you should also understand that using public transport is one way of saving petrol. Using public transport whenever possible. You can do carpooling. If 5 students have to go to school, instead of using 5 cars in the neighborhood, you can just use one car and all children can go to school in that car, right? Or you can use metros whenever it is possible, using public transport whenever possible, or by walking short distances. हेल्थ का हेल्थ भी और फ्यूल भी बचता है. Walking short distances. The next question is a very important question. What does LPG, CNG, and PNG stand for? Right? So let's write this. LPG stands for liquefied petroleum gas. Liquefied petroleum gas. Then we have CNG. We have discussed this a little earlier as well, but it can be written as compressed natural gas. Then we have we had to describe PNG. PNG is pipelined natural gas. When you have natural gas coming to your home in pipes, then it is known as PNG, which is pipelined petroleum gas. Pipelined natural gas. So, pipeline natural gas. Next is an MCQ. Which one of the following is an inexhaustible natural resource? MCQ will be easy if you read the question carefully. It says inexhaustible natural resource, right? So water is an inexhaustible natural resource. Having said that, you should know we have even got water, drinkable water, in a dangerous level. Drinkable water is also known as potable water. Okay. So coal, petroleum, water, and forest. Water is the inexhaustible resource. Which of the following is known as black gold? So coke, coal tar, coal, they're all nearly black. But then petroleum is known as black gold. It has changed the economy of many nations where it has been found. So it is known as black gold, and petroleum gives us many other multiple products as well. Why should we use fossil fuel only when absolutely necessary? Why should we use fossil fuel only when it is absolutely necessary, or how should we save fossil fuel in a way? Why should we use fossil fuel when it is necessary? Because it is an exhaustible fuel, right? It will finish up and it will take millions of years for it to be formed again. So let's write the answer. We should use fossil fuel only when absolutely necessary, because it will ensure the availability of fossil fuel. It will ensure the availability of fossil fuels for a longer period of time. For a longer period of time. Second, it will reduce air pollution. It will reduce air pollution. Now, natural gas does not lead to air pollution, but other petroleum products, like other petroleum products like petrol, diesel, can lead to air pollution, right? So these are the points why we should avoid using fossil fuels. Now, what are the characteristics of an ideal fuel or good fuel? Okay, an ideal fuel or good fuel is the necessity of the hour, because it will give us what is, a clean environment for the future. So let's write characteristics of an ideal fuel. It has a high calorific value. High calorific value means it gives a lot of heat energy when it is burnt. Value, that is, it produces a large amount of heat per unit mass. If you burn 1 gram or 1 kilogram of the fuel, the amount of heat that you find is quite high, right? It does not produce any harmful gases. That's also an important condition. It does not produce any harmful gases or leaves any residue after burning. After burning. And another important point that we should all understand is that it is cheap. A fuel is good when it is accessible, it is cheap, it is readily available. And easy to transport. It should also be able to burn easily, right? It burns easily in air. So these are the characteristics of an ideal fuel. I am sure now, with the help of this worksheet that you must have solved with me, the chapter becomes much easier for you. All the best for your exams, children. Do well. Thank you.